Welcome back, America. Well, we missed a conservative on the Senate side, our buddy Ted Cruz. Senator Cruz, Mitch McConnell says come November he's had enough, the longest-serving leader of either party. You, others, I have been very critical of him. Who might replace him? And isn't it important that whomever it is actually begin to reflect the conservative base of the Republican Party as opposed to hating that base?
Look, I think that's very important. I think we need a leader in the Senate who's a conservative. I think we need a leader in the Senate who can work hand in hand with President Trump. And I think we need a leader in the Senate who's committed to actually doing what we said we would do. You know, you look at the frustration across this country that so many millions of us feel. It fundamentally comes down to the dishonesty of so many elected officials who say one thing on the campaign trail and then do the opposite when they get into office. And I think it is very important that the next Senate, I hope, majority leader will be someone who is committed that we're going to deliver on our promises. We're going to stand up and fight for what we said we're going to fight for, to secure the border, to cut government spending, to rein in debt that's bankrupting our kids and grandkids, to defend the Constitution and to fight for jobs across the country. If we deliver on those promises, that's a big deal. If it's just lip service, people will be justified in being just as frustrated as they are right now.
And why is it too much to ask that we have a Republican leader who's just as strategic and outspoken as Chuck Schumer? Why is it always that the Republicans go to Chuck Schumer with bended knee and he gets 80% of what he wants, and if the Republicans are lucky, they get 20%?
Yeah, look, the other side, the left, for them, politics is life and death. It is what they wake up doing. It is their mission. And when they have power, they use it. What is so frustrating as Republicans so often, we treat politics like it's a game of croquet in the backyard. It's not terribly important. You know, we're afraid to actually roll up our sleeves or do any hard work. You know, back in 2018, when we had a Republican Senate, a Republican House, and a Republican White House, I put together, Mark, a 50-page presentation that I presented to all the Republican senators. It was called Carpe Diem, Seize the Day. And I went through every time in the last 100 years that Democrats had had united control of government and Republicans had had united control of government. Democrats, when they have control of government, they pass the New Deal. They pass the Great Society. They pass Obamacare and Dodd-Frank. They fundamentally reorganize our nation. Republicans, when we have the majority, tend to be half-assed and just do a little bit. And I'll tell you, my pitch to my colleagues was do not waste. We had then about 5 months left in 2018. Do not waste it. Let's pass major reforms, major reg reforms, rein in the regulatory state. And I got to say, Republican leadership had zero interest in doing anything, and we let that opportunity pass by. If we get the opportunity again in January, we shouldn't blow it this time. We should deliver in a real and serious and, as you noted, strategic way.
Well said. And, you know, Mitch McConnell is the most unpopular Republican among Republicans, except he's the most popular Republican among the ruling class and establishment Republicans. That should tell you something right there. Ted Cruz, I want to move on to the use of the Constitution and the law to commit what are really political crimes. I'll call them that. You look at Donald Trump, you look at this civil case in New York, which is a complete abomination. The law is a complete joke, and the use of the law is a complete joke. You also look at New York, you look at Alvin Bragg, who's taken up a case that's not a case that the U.S. Attorney's Office wouldn't take up, that his predecessor wouldn't take up, where he's trying to turn state misdemeanors into federal fraud violations, felonies, in order to bring felonies in the state. It's outrageous. You look at Georgia, a ridiculous RICO case. You look at Washington, D.C., they're using the Ku Klux Klan law, so much for insurrection and sedition. You're talking about the Espionage Act, which was never intended to be used against a president of the United States. It has never been used against a Secretary of State, a vice president, a former president, in the case of Bill Clinton, putting classified tapes in his sock drawer. Is this not the most horrendous war on our justice system, on a candidate for president, on a future president that has ever occurred in American history?
There is no parallel like it in all of American history. The left has lost their minds. They hate Donald Trump, and they are abusing the justice system. Every one of these 4 sets of indictments is complete garbage. It is brought by partisan Democrats who hate Donald Trump, and they're going after him. And understand, their real target is not Donald Trump. Their real target is the voters. What they're trying to do is destroy him and use the justice system to stop the voters from electing him in November. The irony is they use the language assault on democracy. They are waging an assault on democracy right now because these left-wing authoritarians want to stay in power by any means necessary.
100%. There's simply no question about it. And Biden is behind it. He does these statements to his staff who put it out to the New York Times and other places. You know, the ponderous judge over there, the attorney general, he gets the message, and then the indictments flow. He makes these speeches in public about effectively Donald Trump is a dictator, our entire society's at stake, in order to poison the jury pool, in order to send the word to these local DAs, these Democrats all over the country, keep it up. I want to know what you think about it and what the hell we can do about it. We'll be right back.